This is Satisfactory. It's actually a really pretty game, full of detail, great lighting, most of the time, and really gorgeous designs. It's funny because you wouldn't expect that from a game about screws, making screws and putting screws into things. But what makes Satisfactory so easy on the eyeballs? Let's take a closer look. Shout out to my friend Psych897 for the video idea.
Hi.
He is currently doing a Satisfactory playthrough, and he's a Factorio player, so you couldn't imagine how well that's going.
I mean, it's not terrible. You know, you take the good with the bad.
The buildings in Satisfactory are little boxes that you put resources into and other resources come out the other side. That's all they really need to be, and this is even how they looked in early versions of the game. But the devs put so much time and effort into making them look like a real part of a factory. If we pick each one apart visually, you can see exactly how they function. Take the humble constructor for example. It's made up of a conveyor that leads to a large hydraulic press, two little welding arms, and this supporting structure. Whatever is being constructed goes in on one side, visually gets pressed, welded, and then spat out the other side. It's such a fun and realistic animation that has some great sound design to accompany it too. It's simple, but so are the things that it produces. Its older brother, the assembler, is a massive upgrade in complexity, both in what it creates and how it visually looks. You have the signature arch that houses a quad welder, two robot arms, and plenty of extra doodads. From start to finish, goods are fed into these two holding areas, where a robotic arm picks them up and then hands them to the other, which rotates them to the precise angles that they need to be welded. Then the finished product is conveyed out. There is one part of these machines that I haven't talked about yet, and that's the catwalk and ladders. We sort of know that these machines are just magic boxes that turn resources into goods, but we suspend our disbelief. We pretend that all these animations are actually doing something, and because they're so good and representative of reality, it makes it so much easier. All games do this to some effect, but the ones that do it well really immerse you. So things like the catwalks, which we can even use, are really the icing on top. Real versions of these machines would need maintenance, and that means some poor engineer needs to climb up on top and do his business. A great man taught me this word, verisimilitude. It means the appearance of being true or real, and I think it's a very fitting word to describe Satisfactory's design. Looking at some of the more advanced structures, we can see this design ethos continues. The fuel power generator is really noisy if you stand too close. But from a safe distance, we can see that it's just 4 car engines, rigged to 4 fuel buffers, and then 4 exhausts. The blender is my personal favorite. It's got this great big mixing tank that churns a slurry of whatever you're making. Beneath you can see a large rotor that does all the mixing. The arms on the other side create a bottled product of some kind, and then it gets comedically hurled inside. The overall design of all the structures is nicely themed too. Fixit Corporation did a good job at picking a style and then sticking with it. I don't know what you call it, but it's got this clean chrome industrial look that's really easy to look at. Where in other factory building games you're cobbling together whatever you can, in Satisfactory you've got the backing of an interplanetary megacorporation, and all their cool blueprints. I had to mention the particle accelerator here too, as the creme de la creme. It's clearly inspired by a large hadron collider, but I love the way it just spins up and makes one hell of a noise. And then right as it sounds like it's going to explode, it spins down and spits out a fresh hot pasta carbonara. Speaking about nuclear pasta, have you ever noticed how insanely detailed all the objects in the game are? Pale berries have this shine that makes me want to put as many of them as I can in my mouth. Screws are so detailed and shiny, and like, you can just about read the details on the black powder box. That's insane. Looking at the rebar gun, we can see that it's just been MacGyvered out of whatever the Pioneer could find. Rebar isn't exactly a standard round of ammunition. I love the reload animation as well, because you can see exactly how the weapon works. It's pneumatically powered via lever action. The gauge does a little spin to let us know our PSI. It seems like a weapon straight out of Metro. Rebar as a bullet is also so industrial and metal. Mind the pun. Honestly, the objects in the game are downright decorative. I've seen people use concrete as sandbags, and I mean, just look at the alien power shards. Some other notable examples are the radio controller with a full array of knobs, and the superposition oscillator for giving me the heebie-jeebies. The reason I mention all of these is because, honestly, how often do you even interact with them? When they're in your factory, they're just whizzing by on a conveyor belt. but yet they're so well designed and full of all these little details. The devs really didn't need to put all this love and attention into them, but they did. And I think that speaks mountains to how much they love their game. Let's take a step out of the Mega Factory for a second and look at all the other beauty that the game has to offer, specifically the natural beauty, if you can call it that. The Unreal Engine was really put to work here. The planet, Massage 2B, is full of mega flora and terrain, and these jaw-dropping vistas that would make a Windows screensaver blush. The starting biome is pretty basic, but still has some notable beauty, like the enormous arches, the beautiful waterfalls, and not to mention the giant gaping hole in the ground. Very few games capture that feeling of being so small, like you do in real life standing at the base of a mountain. Satisfactory really nailed the verticality of the terrain, if that makes sense. Mountain tall, this is good, unga bunga. To the east is this lush purple jungle that's so alien with its giant mushrooms and balloon trees. And to the west is this giant waterfall and this beautiful coastal shallows region with insane rock faces and arches. This is also where you start to see some of the weird alien structures for the first time. I'll have to make a whole video on my theory behind those. If you head straight north and then up a whole mountain, you get to the Red Forest, which is pretty and feels kind of oriental with all this bamboo. Even further north are the crater lakes, which are a naturally occurring phenomenon here on Earth, so it's cool to see them in a game. The giant forest to the northeast has these staggeringly large, beautiful trees. That should provide a lot of biomass, if you ask me. They remind me of like a night elf city, or maybe Avatar. One of the smallest biomes, but the coolest, is this little dead zone that has some oil in it. It's clear that it was once underwater with how the terrain is shaped and with all this coral. Then there's the swamp, which was really done well too, with all this gross fungal vegetation. These oily mushrooms look deadly. Props to anyone building a factory here. The various desert biomes are cool, or should I say hot. Great rocky cliff faces, caves, dunes with these beautiful sand blows, and these unique oases. I saved the best biome for last because it makes my head explode just every time I see how pretty it is. In the most northern reaches of the map, there's this beautiful jungle coastline with shimmering turquoise water that honestly belongs on a postcard. It has this waterfall arch and all these giant mushrooms. I mean, just look at it. When I've finished the game and I'm done building my factory, I'm coming here to retire. Just a reminder, this is a game about building factories. But yet, there's all this beauty. There unfortunately is one part of the game's aesthetic that lets it down, and that's the lighting. Specifically, the player-made lighting. While the sunsets are unforgettable, for some reason the lights in the game bleach the areas that they shine on and then don't illuminate a single inch outside of that radius. But I've heard fiddling with the sign brightness can give you some decent lumens. There are so many more things I want to talk about in this video, but it's already like a million minutes long, so in rapid succession, here are some other beautiful things in Satisfactory. Beans, the Explorer, the little ceiling mounted welder in the equipment bench, the little teepees on the bores, George Narwhal's doggo farm, the high-speed connector circuit board, maybe someone can decode what that circuit actually does, the blue flower bug things, the do not flush sign in the hub toilet, the iPod Nano, the MAM's little centrifuge, and finally, I think most importantly, your factory. With all the buildings and objects the game gives you, you can create incredible structures that rival some of the mega terrain in size. The Satisfactory subreddit is full of builders more talented than me, but I still managed to make one or two factories that I think are pretty neat. It's just so satisfying when you're heading back to your factory and you see it in the distance, in all its enormity. Satisfactory is pretty, and I hope that I've convinced you to stop building your factory once in a while and appreciate all the tiny little details that honestly don't need to be there, but are, because the people who made the game also love it. They just wanted to make something that they could be proud of. Thanks for watching.